morning. It's 10 o'clock, and thank you so much for joining us for the fourth week of the 2025 Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference Weekly Football Coaches Video Conference presented by Wells Fargo. I'm Lynn Thompson, Strategic Advisor to the MEAC, and I will serve as the host for today's question and answer session. Before we begin, I'd like to go over today's procedures. The conference will begin by asking each head coach questions about the previous matchups and the upcoming games. Before opening the call to questions from the media for this week's session, media representatives will be limited to one question per coach, with additional opportunities provided as time permits. To ask a question, simply click the hand raised feature and remain muted until you are introduced. With that in mind, let's start. It was a very exciting week in the MEAC as we continued our non-conference portion of the schedule. Overall, the league went 4-2 this week against other teams. So now let's get started with today's interviews. Our first interview is with Howard head coach Larry Scott. Coach, good morning to you.
Good morning, Lynn. How we doing?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good. As I'm sure you are too. Last week, you broke an 8-game losing streak to Hampton in the 34-7 win, and you did it in dominating fashion. Tell us about how you won all 3 phases of the game.
I think just a week of preparation. We didn't want to make a big deal of what the game was. It obviously had the setting. It had all of those things. This game means an awful lot to our university and our alumni and everyone else. So those things kind of took care of itself. We wanted to stay process-driven on our week-by-week process of just building and getting better and playing to the style of play and our identity that we want to continue to build on to be the team we want to be in 25. So it was just about the journey. Hampton just happened to be the team on the schedule. It just happened to be a rivalry game, and all the settings and history of it took care of itself. It took shape. That took shape on its own. What we controlled is our preparation, our level of preparation, and making sure we put ourselves in the best position to play complementary football, which is winning football. And we were able to do that, Lynn. So very pleased with the outcome. It just so happened through that approach, a lot of people came away with smiles on their face Saturday night.
You're right. I'm sure the media will have a chance to ask you more in-depth questions, but now you got a chance to make it 2 in a row against Coastal Athletic Association teams as you travel to face the Richmond Spiders. How does it feel to take a 3-1 Bison team into enemy territory to face such a tough opponent?
Well, we've been having to do that week in and week out. We've been the traveling show. We have not played one game in Green Stadium yet. We don't do that for a few more weeks. So it always feels good to try to go on the road and win and do those things. And although we played in DC, which made it have a home game feel for us, it still wasn't truly in the confines of being on campus and those things. But so we're kind of accustomed to that, and we've had to go to New York. We've been in Miami. We've been in Philadelphia. So every weekend's been pack up the whole operation and move everything and settle in and play football. So. I think that's character building for our young men and for our program. We're going to be battle tested that way. So to have this opportunity is just another platform, right, to go show what we're capable of. We talk about not only wanting to be just, a good, FCS, HBCU program. We want to be one of the best FCS programs in America. So this gives us a platform and another opportunity to go, make an attempt at that. So we're excited about it. Really good football team that we're going to play, but so are we. When we're operating the way that we're supposed to, we're executing, not beating ourselves and doing things like that. So this would be obviously a big test for us, but one that we welcome and understand the platform that we have to not only represent our brand of football at Howard, but to represent our conference, the MEAC conference, and all of the great teams that lie within this conference. We're competitive against each other, but when we outside of here, man, we want to show people what our brand of football is all about.
Okay, Coach, I got you warmed up now. So let's get ready for the rest of the media questions. And we're going to start things off by just reminding the media, please use your raise hand feature, remain muted until you're introduced. Limit your questions to just one for Coach Scott. And our first question comes from Wayne Cartwright. Wayne.
Hey, Coach Scott, congrats on the win. I saw you guys ran for 274 yards in this one, but I specifically want to talk about Travis Kearney. I saw that he had only gained 2 total yards rushing, and then this week he broke out for 113 with those 2 touchdowns on the ground. So how do you see his potential fit when Eden James comes back in the offense? Because obviously you got to be excited about that.
I mean, who's going to complain about having a stable bunch of really good backs? I mean, everybody has a place that they fit. It's just when you get the opportunity, competition drives greatness and it brings the best out of everybody. So when you're in there and you get your opportunity, you better make good on it. You better wait for it. And whoever the guy that's the hottest and seeing it the cleanest and running the hardest and the fastest will be in there. But we pride ourselves at the running back position on being able to play well without the ball too. So it's all encompassing when you're in there for us, so that you're always a viable weapon for us. So it's just whoever's hot, and then you're talking about adding, when he's back in the fold, and add another really good player. That just means we have another chess piece to get creative with and find out ways to make sure our explosive playmakers are getting their hands on the ball. So we'll just, we'll see how it all works out. But I don't know where you maybe have gotten to 2 yards before the last game. But, either way it goes, we're excited about Travis. We've been waiting on him to kind of have his opportunity to kind of come onto the scene and kind of show what his ability is and what he's all about. And he did that, and that's going to probably be the ground surface level for him. I think you'll see, an improved and better player each and every week, and he'll just continue to be able to make those type of plays.
Well, good luck this week, Coach, at a Patriot League opponent, Richmond.
Yeah.
You're right. Thanks so much, Wayne. You're up next. Chris Stevens, HBCU Sports.
Good morning, Coach Scott. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Pretty good. I had a question about one play in particular. You opened up the playbook really deep throughout this whole game, and then there was the double reverse to the tight end in the third quarter that you had to sweat out a review for. Just in that moment, you think you got this great play. It goes off without a hitch. I mean, it's pretty much perfect. And then, the referees that originally called you guys for an illegal forward pass. Just how do you sort of kind of not only get your players to kind of calm down, waiting for that to review, eventually turned out on your side of things, but just with that type of play, just how do you kind of get your guys and yourself to just, and your staff to just not, live and die with that one particular play, even though everything went right and the refs, kind of got it wrong originally?
Just the execution. I think it was a lot going on there that they even lost track of where the ball was. And then that's kind of the issue, right? When you go into some a little bit of gadget place stuff type deals. And so, I mean, it just kind of, I think it just kind of threw them off a little bit, but the whole thing is built on laterals. So, and we knew in our mind that through the execution of the play and how the play is designed, that those were all laterals. We just waited on them to see it. There was no way that could have been when people are lined up in the backfield already in the legal back. No, there's no way. That's by concept. There's no way that could have been the case. So just hang on, trust and believe, and have faith in what you've been coached, and that we executed the call to a T. And sure enough, it came out with the right outcome.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time as always. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Daryl Duvall.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on your win. I just had a real quick question, Coach. This is Daryl Duvall again with Power on You Sports. What will you emphasize going forward after this head-to-head battle?
What will I continue to emphasize?
Yes.
Getting better. That's it. And fundamentally, our fundamentals, our technique, playing to our identity. I mean, we're not going to change the course of what we do. We're going to do what we do better. Sharpening our routines, making sure that, we practice better, make sure that we're intentional about everything that we're doing. And then always making sure our young men are educated and understand how the plan always fits together for the good of what we're trying to accomplish as a team. So we have a very processed way of preparation and preparing here. And all we do is we just, each week we find ways to get better. We don't deviate. We just get it better. We practice better. We practice harder. We practice smarter. And we just do things to our true identity. So our identity shows up on Saturday. So not going to do anything other than what we do and do it better.
Well, thank you, Coach. Again, congratulations on your win. I think y'all really kind of growing. This team is growing from where it was last year to where it is right now.
So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Daryl. Now on to the urban sports scenes, Ray Rogers.
Hey, good morning, Coach Scott. What's happening?
Ray, good morning, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, brother. I just want to say Tyreek has been playing well all season, efficient, limited mistakes, but hitting 8 different receivers this week, and you had to be pleased with that. Talk about just how much he's growing as a leader on the team, because I feel like each week he seems to be continuing to evolve. I don't know if you agree with that, but he looks good out there.
Yeah, man. I think that's what football is, right? People forget that football is a continuum. It's an accumulation of reps and practice and time. And one of the things that we're not necessarily afforded that used to be a commodity in college football was time to develop and grow people and grow young men into really good players. And you had a sound summer, you had spring, you had falls, you had years of time to develop. And what you're trying to do now is you're trying to cram all of that into, he got here in the midsummer. So you're going from midsummer, didn't even have a spring ball. You're going midsummer training camp into the season. So a lot of it is the learning on the fly, the system, why we do things, why we do some of the things we do through the mind of the play caller and thinking and processing kind of like, I do, and reason why certain calls are coming out and being ran at certain times and what's the intent of the call and all of those type of things. So he's just learning and growing, and just so happens that it has to unfold sometimes for, not just in practice, but it's unfolding for all of us to see and all of us to watch. I think sometimes you guys think we as coaches, we kind of know what's going to happen. We're all kind of watching it unfold as you are too as well. And then we just got to adjust and fix it and do all those type of things. So in this new microwave society of college football and how you have to try to bring it together as fast as you can, you guys actually get to watch it unfold as we do too. So it's fun, you just want to go to work each and every week. He understands, he's starting to understand a little bit more of what we want and why we do things the way we do them. And he's kind of settling into that. And you can do that when the guy has some natural skill set and some natural talent. Both with his legs and his arms, and he's a football guy. He loves the game of football. He's competitive, uber competitive, which always gives you a chance when that's coming from that position. So I'm looking forward to continuing to watch, just as you guys are, his continued development week by week, day by day around here, then week by week for you guys.
Thanks, Coach, and congrats, and good luck this week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much, Ray. Now to Nathaniel Henry Jr.
Good morning, Coach Scott. How you doing this morning? Congratulations.
I'm doing well. Thanks, Nate.
Yes, sir. Nathaniel Henry, Howard Sports Media. Coach, talk about the progress and evolution of the offensive line in the first 4 games.
Again, Nate, it's the same thing. When you're trying to get 5, you're talking about one guy. Now you're trying to get 5 guys to work together on a string, work in unison together. Come on, man. I mean, that takes accumulation of reps and time and practice and those type of things. And I can take it a step further for us uniquely. There's some days we go out to practice and 1 or 2 of those guys may not even be there until, the back half of practice because of class schedules and those type of things. So getting that group to kind of, synchronize and work together, and it's taking a lot of reps and a lot of time. And again, a lot of that unfolds sometimes on the national scene, on national television in games for all of us to watch as that's still coming together. So, which is a healthy thing. What you want to do is make sure in that interim of that happening, you're still finding ways to win some ball games. And fortunate, and we've been blessed that we've been, able to figure that out in the course of winning some games too, as well as these guys build to continue getting better. But happy with the progress of where they are. And I think when this group, it really turns on for this group, they can be a special group. And we got 8 or 9 of them that we're playing with. We're not just playing with 5. We're plugging and going with 8, 9 guys up front right now, which I think is going to really give us a chance down the stretch.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Nathaniel. Now inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Good morning, Coach Scott. Congratulations on the win.
Good morning. Thank you, Doc. How you doing?
Doing well. I want to talk to you a little bit about the defensive side of the ball. Essentially, a third of your season has been played. You've played 2 FCS programs, and your efficiency and what you've been able to do, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, is starting to say some things to me. I have a colleague that talks about data points, so I want to go into it. Hampton, you held them to 4 of 12, 0-4 in terms of their efficiency on a first, 4th down. Then you look at what you were able to do against FAMU that first game, 6 of 16 in terms of they were able to get on efficiency. They were 4-1. And even if you look at Howard, you start to see they were intriguing in terms of the fact that even though they're Division II, in terms of your FCS components, they were able to score more points in terms of 10 total points. Things play out differently. Held Hampton to 7. You held FAMU to 9. That's 3 field goals. Talk a little bit about this defense and what is starting to emerge as some collective data points that are intriguing to me in terms of what you're able to get this defense to be able to do effectively against FCS programs.
Well, Doc, for us, it starts there. I mean, although I'm an offensive-minded head coach, the first thing on our plan to win is play great defense. That's the number one thing we take care of priority wise, whether that's recruiting, whatever we're doing, how we practice and all those type of things is built around tackling, is built around making sure that we play great on defense. I'm one of those believers in the reverse psychology of it. They can't win, they can't score. So on the offensive side of the ball, you stop them from scoring, it makes the job easier, a little bit easier on the offensive side of the ball. So that's something that we pride ourselves in, a true identity, because then if you're playing really good on defense, you're probably really good in the kicking game. And we've been really improving in that area too as well. So things are coming together kind of the way that you want them to around here, being like you said. I like when you start dropping statistics because you think like we think. It's a quarter of the way, and then you go back and you kind of reflect real quick on yesterday evening and this morning. You reflect on where you were, where you are. Are you trending? Are you going in the right directions? Or are those data points moving for you in the direction that you want to see them move? And we're fortunate that that's happening a little bit around here in some areas. Obviously, we got a lot of work to still do and a lot of work to still clean up and continue to get better at. But those are things that we're surely charting and making sure that are moving and trending in the right direction. So you can continue to play those type of defenses, continue to get off the field on third down. And then your kicking game can come in and complement that by playing the field position out. And then offensively, you take advantage of short fields or medium fields. It's going to give you a chance to win. So if people go back and truly study those type of games, that's what's been happening. And if that can continue to happen down the stretch, I don't want to play all 100. I don't want to play all 100 yards. I want to play about 60 yards of possession, 70 yards of possession. And if you're doing that, you're going to tilt the odds, hell of a chance in your favor that you're going to win a lot of football games. So that's kind of the way we go about it and roll about it here, man. And our defense is definitely trending in that direction. Is there still a lot of work to be done in that area? Yes, we talk about it constantly. And those are the things that we went focused on yesterday from a fundamental standpoint, fundamental Sundays. And then we move right into the rest of the week as far as making sure our fits are correct and all of those type of things. But the bottom line is you want to play a physical attacking style of defense. And that's what we're doing. We're putting our pads on people. We're tackling really well. And we're covering people. So it's still blocking, tackling, and covering. And that's what we want to make sure we're emphasizing all the time and watch those data points move.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to continuing to watch the entire team, but particularly what this defense is putting together. Seems to be something special. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. On now to James Hill with James Hill Sports.
Coach, how you doing? Congratulations on that victory.
James, thank you. I appreciate it. How you doing?
Yes, sir. I'm good. Thanks. Talk a little bit about the special teams component and why that's so essential to Bison football success. And you guys have been able to get some things done as you move into Richmond.
I'll tell you what, you like a lot of how we start out the week watching, film on teams is to watch them on special teams, right? You can see the spirit and the soul of a football team by watching how hard they play what most people deem as insignificant plays when they're actually the most significant plays in the game, because you don't know which one of those plays can make the difference in the game. So if you got guys out there and they playing with a sense of urgency, they playing with great technique, they're playing with great fundamental, they're straining, they're playing fast. It'll tell you what type of football team you're about to get ready to play far before you turn on the offense or the defense to see what those guys are doing, because you talk about the spirit and soul of a team. That's why it's called special teams. Those guys need to be special. And when it comes on the tape needs to do all the talking. And so we continuously stress that here in our program. And what we do is a lot of meeting time and a lot of practice segment time dedicated to making sure we get that identity to come through and come across on tape as to, what type of team we want to be. Doesn't mean that all of them are great plays. Nope. There's always things to coach and teach off of and develop and do those things. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that the spirit of who we are, the soul of what our team is built around, is coming through in those phases. So something that's truly important to us, and we spend a lot of time with.
Good luck this week, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, James. Our final question for Coach Scott this morning comes from Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash from Yard, HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
Dwayne, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's always a good thing if you're kind of piggybacking off of something that the doc said. But I'm going to take it from a different perspective here, as I want to ask you about Richmond's defense. Just like Howard, statistically, you guys are both both pretty good in terms of your output defensively. What is it about Richmond's defense that stands out to you as you get ready to go and face them down in Robins Stadium?
Man, sound. As sound as you're going to probably see. Very sound, very fundamental, very well coached. You talk about guys that are truly playing on the string. They understand their fits. They are where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, which I think is sometimes people think that stuff looks simple. Simple ain't easy. So getting guys to operate at that kind of, with that type of urgency, they play fast, they play really physical. But when, you see guys on tape, again, their identity comes through on tape because they play fast. So in playing fast, you know that these guys know what they're doing. They're confident in what they're doing. And they're running their system and operating it to a T. So it is one that you better be very disciplined in. You better not turn the ball over. You better not have all these false start, pre-snap penalties and do things to beat yourself, because they're very much so, bend, don't break. And they're not going to do things to beat themselves. So if you're doing things to beat you, that's not the formula to winning games like this. So it's surely going to have to be that we're playing our very best football, that we're playing a very disciplined, structured style of football. And at the end of the day, that's going to make the game a physical one. So it's going to be physical. They're going to be in their gaps, and we're going to have our great fundamentals and put our hats on people and be physical, play with great leverage, play with our hands inside, and know that we want to buckle up and make this a physical ball game. And that's what it's going to be. So it's kind of one of those games, man, where if you don't beat yourself, you're going to give yourself a chance. So you got to play really good, smart, disciplined, clean, hard-nosed, physical football. And that's what this game's going to be.
Thanks so much, Coach. Good luck in Richmond this weekend.
All righty. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Dwayne and Coach Scott. That about does it for all our media questions for you today. Thanks for joining us, and best of luck this weekend as the Bison travel down to play the Richmond Spiders. Thanks, Coach. And for all of you, it's going to be Howard at Richmond Saturday, September 27th at E. Claiborne Robins Stadium in Richmond, Virginia, a noon kickoff on ESPN+. Coming up next, we're going to travel to Durham, North Carolina to sit for a moment with a very happy head coach, Trei Oliver. Good morning to you, Coach Oliver.
Good morning, Lynn. How you doing this morning?
Doing good, man. Doing good. We talked about last week, the Aggie Eagle Classic. It was a hot topic last week, and it truly ended up being a classic performance for the Eagles in the 62-20 win, a record-setting 756 yards of offense. But this really was a total team win, wasn't it?
Definitely. And obviously it was a 97 Eagle Aggie Classic. And, I challenged the guys we talk about thermostat mentality and come out, let's not worry about talking trash and everything. Let's just play football. But yes, I think this is probably the first game of the year that we put a complete game together in all three phases. And, I take my hat off and very appreciative of my coaches and the effort they put in to having our guys prepared. But offensively, I thought we were rolling. And we had 10 receivers that had a reception. Obviously, Walker, Harris, and Mosley were on fire. And then defensively, we were able to stop the run and try to make them one-dimensional. We knew they had an issue at the quarterback position. So we were trying to load the box to stop the run, make them one-dimensional and throw the football. And then in the kicking game, I thought we played solid there as well. So it was good to see us put all three phases together and then play a good game this Saturday.
Good, Coach. Now you got to prepare for a new opponent you never faced. East Texas A&M this week. You're going to travel to Texas. What stands out to you about their team on film, and what will be the keys for the Eagles to be successful in this matchup?
Yeah, they're a very physical football team, and they've had a tough schedule opening up with SMU, Florida State, and then Grambling on the road. So this will be their home opener, and I know those guys will be excited to play, at home. But they're very physical up front with the offensive line. And they have, a stable of running backs that I think are outstanding. And their quarterback is unbelievable athlete. And then, on the defense side of the ball, they have a great scheme. And they do some things to try to confuse the quarterback and things of that nature. So we're going to have our hands full from travel standpoint and then, playing those guys in their home opener. But, again, we're excited to compete.
Okay, Coach, hang on just for a moment for additional questions from the media. We'll start just by reminding the media to raise their hand, use that feature, and remain muted until you're introduced. Limit your questions to just one for Coach Oliver. We're going to start now with Wayne Cartwright.
Hey, Coach Oliver, Wayne Cartwright, the ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright. So you talked about East Texas A&M. I actually watched their game against Grambling this weekend. as you guys get ready to go down there, knowing that you guys have a bye week after it, what are the things that you guys are really going to be keying in on ahead of that bye week in this game with your execution?
That's what it's all about. We got to come up with the game plan and figure out how to execute on both sides of the ball. They're physical team. They're a run first type team. So we have to, try to stop the run, and then they have some explosive players in the receiving core on the perimeter. But, it starts up front on both sides of the ball. So we have to limit what we give them in the run game first and foremost. And offensively, we have to continue to be efficient. And I thought we've improved in certain areas, like our receiving core. I don't think we had a drop this week. And we had caught a bunch of 50-50 balls. And that takes pressure off your run game. And when people can't load the box because you're making plays on the perimeter, now to open up some of your running game. And I thought that's what happened this weekend in Greensboro.
Well, good luck, Coach, with the trip down to Commerce, and continue doing well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Now with James Hill.
How you doing, Coach?
I'm well, James, and everybody here in Durham Nation is doing well as also.
That's great. Congratulations on that victory versus A&T. Walker Harris, as well as your running backs, the running game and the passing game. You guys were clicking. Talk a little bit about the success on offense as you get ready to go down to the Lone Star State.
Yeah, I thought that our offense staff, I thought we came with a good game plan. I had been on coach 3 of the 4 of their defensive staff, and they played under our system. And our offensive coaches have seen that we run similar defensive schemes. So we've seen that for the past however many years. Our offense sees it every day. So we had a pretty good idea about how we want to, attack them, and things that we thought were going to be, open, and we had the opportunity to take advantage of it.
Good luck this weekend, Coach.
Yeah, thanks, James.
Stevens, HBCU Sports, you're up.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Obviously, all the talk this season from the running back perspective has been about Chris Mosley, but you have to be pleased with A.J. Rogers stepping up in a complimentary role as well. He had 149 yards and a couple touchdowns on Saturday. Just how much easier does it make it for your entire running back room when you have 2 guys who can go out and get 100 yards in less than 20 carries like those 2 guys did on Saturday?
Well, AJ's in the doghouse. AJ fumbled and gave up a touchdown, so AJ's in my doghouse right now. But no, he's come along, and he's a good complimentary running back with Mosley. He's the physical downhill back, and he's done a much better job running behind his pads. And then we have the young guy, Zion Dobson, who's really coming into his own and starting to understand the pace and speed of the game. And I thought Dobson has played well also. But, we got a stable of running backs. I think Coach Bankins has done a really good job developing those guys. But you've got to take care of the football. And like I said, AJ had a great day running the ball, and I think he had almost a 10-yard average. But we cannot lay the ball on the ground and then, give up points especially.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time. As always, best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, now on to Dwayne Nash.
Morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash from the Yard, HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
I'm well, Dwayne. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. Over the past few seasons, well, not few seasons, over the past 4 seasons, since I've been speaking with you, I've always been able to point out something new that you've done. I wasn't expecting something else to happen again this year. With that being said, it seems like every year that you play or coach in the Aggie Eagle Classic, you seem to be getting closer and closer to cementing your name as one of the greats within this rivalry, now especially as a coach. You've now done something that this team hasn't done in over 50 years, which has beat A&T for 4 straight years. What is your thought about that, or is that even something that you even care about?
Nah, I've not given any thought at all, man. We're just trying to figure out a way to put a game plan together and get these guys ready to play a game and win a game. People forget, 2019, my first year here, was the worst loss in Central history. We lost to them people 54-0. And my name was on that side of the thing too. So I don't know about going down as one of the best and all this. I would love to, but we're just trying to take it 1 year at a time, 1 game at a time. But it's tough, man. You got to try to, build a program and develop the culture. get good players in here, good coaches in here. But you know, I'm humbled and I'm honored to be considered a great, good football coach. But you know, we just take it one year at a time, and I haven't even thought about whatever happened the last 50 years.
All right, Coach. I mean, 128 points kind of makes some people forget about that 54-0.
Yeah, them folks are walking around here with 99-0 shirts on too. So
Yeah.
you know, I had to wear that for a little while. You know, one of them years was mine, but you know, it was rough. People want to run me up out of Durham back in 2019.
But yeah, good luck. Good luck I'm sorry, Coach. Good luck this week down in Commerce.
Yeah, thank you for your research too, man. You do a great job.
I try. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Dwayne. Now on to Daryl Duval.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on your win this past weekend. Also, I want to say, that's kind of in my backyard. I'm like an hour and a half away from East Texas State. But the question I have is, with a big win like this, how do you ensure your team stay focused moving forward?
Oh, we're done with that. We put that thing to bed in the locker room after the game. It was a good win. You know, obviously they're in a rebuild stage there, and this is not where Coach Gibbs wants them to be right now. But you know, we got to play a very tough opponent, and this is a non-conference opponent. And you know, my juices get flowing when we start talking about non-conference football. So we have to go down here. We got to get focused, and you know, it's going to be a long travel day. And I've never been to Commerce before, but they play very good football, and they are a extremely physical football team. So we just have to focus on what's important at this point in time. Coming with a scheme, coming up with a great game plan, and then locking in on this upcoming opponent. But that game Saturday is over and done with. We moved on.
Well, good luck this weekend, and hopefully I might be able to sneak up there.
Look forward to seeing you.
All right.
Thanks, Daryl. Our final question for Coach Oliver comes from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill inside the Sports Lab, HBCU.
Thank you. And it's Kenyatta Cavill. Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Oliver, and congratulations on the win.
Good morning, Doc. Thank you.
Didn't realize you had polo shirts with Coach over skiing. Nice look, Coach.
Oh, that's a shot. I got you, Doc. I got you.
I'm just saying, it's nice wear. I was going to talk about your efficiency on offense in terms of just being able to put 767 total yards up, but you said you closed that book, so let's look forward to the East Texas A&M. But I'll ask it from this perspective. You talked a little bit about your receivers being better in terms of catching those balls and not dropping them, as well as being able to make some contesting catches, which obviously I can see the importance on there. But talk about holistically on your offense, how do you want them to be more effective as they move forward, but particularly in this East Texas A&M game?
Right. I like where we were Saturday. I thought as far as our up front offensive line, I challenged them. You know, we did have over 300 some yards rushing, but I thought they could have played better. You know, from a technique standpoint and fundamental standpoint, I thought there's some things that they could have improved on. And I said, I look crazy sitting up here with 300 some yards rushing and talking about we could have played better, but I really think that we could have played better up front offensively. And then aside from that, I was pleased. I thought Josh Jones came in and played an outstanding game. He completed a couple passes. And, you know, obviously we pulled out our option attack. So we're going to move forward looking at running some option with him and, you know, making people have to defend that. But I thought that we moved the ball well and we were very efficient, like you said. So we just need to work to improve and to continue to get better. I talk about that all the time, working to get better week by week.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, we're going to open it back up one time for Stephen Gaither. Steve.
Hear me? Hi, can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Got you, Steve.
Hey, Coach Oliver, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well. First of all, the question I have is, obviously, you know, I talked to Coach Gibbs last week, and he talked about, you know, how even though he wasn't there, you guys put 60 on him last year. When you put 60 on him again this year, we know you guys are close and everything like that. But what was the conversation like before the game for you guys, and then afterwards as well? And did you think that you guys had the ability or would be able to put 60 on them again?
Conversation before the game was lighthearted. I spoke to a bunch of their coaches. You know, we got a good relationship with a bunch of those guys. So real lighthearted, talking about family and, you know, some other little things, but it was brief. You know, it was a business trip for both of us. And we did have opportunity to text after the game. He congratulated me, and I wished him luck moving forward. But as far as the game is concerned, you know, we don't go in trying to score a certain amount of points. You know, we go in and trying to attack and figure out a way to win a football game. So we were fortunate enough to come up with a great game plan to be able to do that. Now, obviously, as a coach, you're supposed to be confident in your team and, you know, try to motivate your guys. So whatever you said leading up to the game, I didn't take that as any extra motivation to try to score a certain amount of points. You know, and that's the difference between hopeful and being prepared. You know, sometimes you hope that you play well, and you know, like I say, hope is not a plan. Our guys were prepared, and we were rolling.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck this week.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Steve, and thanks to all of you for those questions. That's it for our media questions for you, Coach Oliver. I'd like to wish you the best of luck this coming Saturday on your travels to Commerce, Texas, to play East Texas A&M. As a reminder, it's going to be North Carolina Central at East Texas A&M Saturday at Memorial Stadium in Commerce, Texas, 7 p.m. kickoff on ESPN+.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach. Let's go now to Dover, Delaware. Let's talk to the Delaware State head coach, DeSean Jackson. Good morning to you, Coach Jackson.
Hey, good morning, man. How you doing?
Doing good, Coach. You know, for the first time in 18 years, the Hornets are 3-1 with their 39-10 road win over St. Francis. And the Hornets seem to have gotten your message from last week's game and went to work fixing all the things you pointed out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. It was very impressive. I think we only had 4 or 5 penalties in that game. We stressed discipline all week, offensive, defensively, and special teams. It was exciting to see our guys come out and be disciplined like that and you know, not shoot ourselves in the foot. So, you know, from us, there's still a lot of things we can clean up, but definitely it's night and day with those penalties, man, because the first, I think, 3 games, we have 14 consecutive penalties week in and week out.
I'm sure that most of the media reps will have questions about that game, but let's talk about Sacred Heart, Coach. Up next, you got a big challenge in them. They're going to present some huge challenges. What will be the most important factors for Del State to execute in order to come out on top for this game?
I think continuously, man, you know, we have an objective to do here. You know, is play physical, play fast, play strong, and be violent in all 3 phases of the football game. So, you know, it always comes down to ourselves. You know, we look at every opponent, we respect them, we do our work throughout the week. And, you know, when we come on game days, you know, we just come out, you know, very violent and aggressive. So, you know, it'll be another great opportunity. This will be our 2nd consecutive road game. We got 1 more after this. So we're understanding we got to go be road warriors. And, you know, that's the expectation that I put out for our guys.
Yeah, 39-10, Coach. 3-1 are the Hornets. Thanks so much. Let's hang on for the questions from the media. As a reminder, media, use the raise hand feature. Remain muted until you're introduced, and then limit your questions to 1 for Coach Jackson. Our first question comes from Wayne Cartwright. Wayne.
Hey, Coach Jackson, congrats on the win. 3 in a row for you guys. It's really exciting for you guys. So obviously you guys lead FCS in rushing offense, 291 yards per game. But your opponent this week's Sacred Heart, you know, they're pretty respectful themselves, rushing for an average of 187 a game, and they went over for 200 last week against Norfolk State. So in your preparation this week for them, what are you guys going to be focused on with your defense about making sure that you control their run game?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you look at the flow of the game, right? Every game you go into, you always, you know, presented with different obstacles. You know, I think this week coming up, Sacred Heart, man, they're a very physical team. They got a great culture. You know, the head coach, the offensive coordinator has been there, you know, 15, 17 years. So their foundation speaks for itself. They do some great things. You know, like I said, we'll always respect the team at hand. But, you know, what I preach on my team is always about ourselves. You know, we never get too caught up in worrying about everybody else, because once we do what we need to do and we're confident and focused on our job and put in the work throughout the week, you know, we just, that's how we respect our opponents, right? We don't get too caught up in what do they do well, what do they, because we know what we're capable of doing, right? So, you know, the obstacles presented, they do a great job, and we'll be ready to face them on Saturday.
All right, Coach. Good luck this week up there in Connecticut.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Wayne. On now to HBCU Sports, Chris Stevens.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm blessed. And so how you doing, Chris?
Pretty good. You mentioned that, the penalties were the last couple of weeks you've mentioned those bonehead errors and different things of that nature. Just as a coach, just watching these guys, go through that game, 5 penalties, 44 yards, cut down like about 90% from where you were the previous week. Just how much of a thrill is that to see that the lessons that you and your coaching staff are drilling in these guys are finally starting to pay off in that respect?
Man, there's growth, man. I look at this thing, because it's hard enough to win enough in college football, to win a game and go out there and put 4 quarters of ball out there. I mean, you're looking at anywhere from 60 to 80 plays, right? Week in and week out. So, I mean, when you're giving up that many yardage, you're penalizing yourself. It's almost like you're working backwards, right? And I try to do a great job of presenting my team with I don't expect no one to be perfect, but at the end of the day, let's not continue to make mistakes where it's hurting the team, right? And you get into situations, your heated moments, a player may do something to you. From our perspective, it's discipline, right? So we want to try to control the self-inflicted wounds where, it's misconduct, right? Because a lot of those penalties were misconduct, where, 4 or 5 personal conduct fouls. You're going to have holding plays. You're going to have things that happen throughout the play, but majority of those calls were misconduct, right? Player misconduct and making decisions that's going to cost the team. So we emphasize that. We clean that up. At the end of the day, like I said, I don't expect my players to be perfect, but we go out there, we can handle the discipline side of it. Now, if it's a technique thing and you're just caught grabbing or certain things, we can live with that. You just can't keep repeating those things. So this week, they did a hell of a job of going out there, man, and emphasizing, mentally, if a guy pushes you over the edge, hey, you got 4 quarters of football, man. Get them the next play. And I challenged my players, and they did a great job of, playing and play out and giving it their best effort, maximum effort. And, it showed this Saturday.
Thanks for your time as always, Coach. Best of luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And now on to James Hill, James Hill Sports.
Coach, how you doing this morning?
James, I'm good. Yourself, man. How you doing?
I'm blessed. Your particular offensive side of the football, the passing game, as well as the running game. Can you just talk about this team and the success? You guys are making some noise early, 3-1, and there's a lot of heads. You're turning heads. Everybody's looking over at Dover now. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's a great feeling to win games. You work so hard. You put so much work into, the common goals was to win football games, right? To put dubs in the columns. In our eyes, we feel like we have a lot of growth to still accomplish, right? Being 3-1, we played 4 games. Hey, so be it. Great job, but we know the midst of our season has not even started yet. We got a lot of football left to go play. We got a lot of work to continuously go put out there, but it's definitely exciting to see the growth, the steps my players are taking. Win, lose, or draw, we're going to fight. We're going to play hard. And we're changing this culture around here because at the end of the day, when I first got here, I said, man, there's some talent here. We got talent. It's a lot of guys that are willing to win, that are willing to put it in. You just got to love up on these young guys. Sometimes you got to encourage them. You got to get more out of them. And that's what we was able to do here. We brought players in that fit our culture. And the existing guys we kept around, we had to change it because, they weren't winning here. So now it's a good taste in our mouth. We have guys are rejuvenated every week in and week out to come to work. And, the standard is the standard. We don't dumb down the standard for anybody, regardless of who you are, including myself. We keep that high. And, every week, every day we go to work, we have fun doing it.
Good luck this week, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Now on to Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash from the Yard HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, Dwayne. I'm good yourself.
I'm doing good. Now, when you were first hired there at Dover, I incorrectly assumed that your offensive scheme would be one of a finesse style, being that you're a former wide receiver. Completely different than what I thought, then that you're leading the nation in rushing.
Right.
I have to ask, where does that philosophy of becoming a running team come from? And is that what you were? Is that what your coaching style was like when you were coaching out at Wilson?
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to just look at our roster, right? We got some dogs in the running back room, man, and all throughout, when I first got here in January, all throughout the spring, the summer workouts, I mean, we literally got 4 running backs, maybe 5 possible running backs that could be starting on other teams, and we realize that and we understand that. And at the end of the day, it's only one football to go around, but I've always stressed. This offense will be ran through our run game. This offense will be ran through our running back room, right? We have a quarterback that got great playmaking ability as well too. If I can go in hindsight and go back and look at this thing and evaluate it, I feel like teams are going to start trying to load the boxes. That's what we saw last week with St. Francis. We got to do a better job in the passing game. We will do a better job in passing. But one thing that I didn't want to have the cliche thing to come down to with Coach Jack. He's a wide receiver and he's going to be passing 70% of the time and running for 30% of the time. I realized to have a successful offense, it has to start with the run game. It has to start with the trenches. It has to start with a great mindset at the quarterback position where they can be smart, where a lot of things we do is RPO. We have options, right? Every play we call, we have 2 to 3 options, right? Depending on how the defense plays, right? So in our hindsight, regardless of what the defense plays, the defense can never be right in our eyes, right? The way we coach our offense and the way we approach every game and play in and play out, as long as the quarterback is making the right decision, sky's the limits for our offense. And we show we can be a dangerous offense. Running for 290. I mean, we had 299 last week, and our OC was pissed off because we knew we should have had way more than what we had. But it's gonna be obstacles, it's gonna be things that present ourselves. But as long as we're keeping our foot on the gas, man, sky's the limits for this Delaware State team.
Thanks so much, Coach. Good luck this week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. Now let's go inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Dr. Kenyatta Cavill.
Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach Jack, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, Doc. You all right?
I'm doing well. I appreciate that. Good football this weekend, particularly what you all are getting done over there at Delaware State. I wanted to ask you more of a holistic question, if you would allow me. A third of your season has been completed, first 4 games. Can you talk about, obviously your offense has been extremely effective and allowed you to get these W's that you've had and start off the season like this. But let's look at the defensive side of the ball. How do you believe your defense is coming around, particularly if you collapse all the first 4 games that you played?
Man, great question. Defensively, man, I feel like defense wins championships. Where that's what we preach here. Offense win games, defense wins championship, right? And in my eyes, to start the season off, man, I feel like the defense been doing a great job. Every week I challenge the defense. I think the first week, I told them I didn't want more than 21 points scored, right? They got over. Obviously, Delaware got 35 points on us, but we felt in that game we really played neck and neck with them, and we just hurt ourselves in the penalties aspect. But going into Albany, Albany scored 32. It was a challenge. Obviously, the defense had a few stops here and there, but going back, if we look at the past 3 games, I've asked my defense to keep teams under 17 points, right? 14 points. And then this week, I think I gave them 14 as well. And they was right on it every week. They was right on it. In hindsight, our defense, man, is very physical. We do a lot of great things, right? We disguise. We get pressure on the quarterback. With defense, man, you just got to ask your guys, man, to just not make too many mistakes, right? Because offenses they're gonna score, right? They're gonna gain yards, they're gonna score touchdowns. So for us, we just look at this, man. As long as we can keep the offense under the points we score on offense, we're gonna win the game, right? And that's our mindset. They're gonna score, they're gonna make plays, but I know our offense is very deadly, right? And we're gonna score points. So as long as their offense is not scoring what we're scoring on offense, I think we're in great shape.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach Jack. Good luck this weekend and look forward to the matchup.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
No doubt.
Thanks, Doc. On to Daryl Duvall.
Hey, Coach, this is Daryl Duvall with Power U Sports. First of all, I want to say congratulations on your win. Right now you are on the top of the you are on the top right now. But I just want to kind of just talk about your where you're going right now, and I believe that you all, as you move into MEAC play, what do you want to maintain from your performance from the last 3 games that you played?
Man, great question, man. Appreciate you there. How you doing this morning?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, man. You know, in our eyes, you know, we know how important the MEAC is, right? First and foremost. It's just unfortunate the MEAC is more toward the back end of our season, right? So, you know, coming into this thing, the expectations on the MEAC has always been, you know, we got to be in our best shape football by the time we get to the MEAC. You know, I know people say, oh, non-conference game doesn't mean anything. In our eyes, we don't approach football games like that, right? We want to win every game as possible. I know coming into this thing, you know, I had some leeway on, oh, it's going to take time. You know, we don't expect you to win right now. You know, we feel this may be a 2 or 3 year process, right? In my eyes, I've never been that type of guy, right? I believe in the opportunity at hand and, you know, stepping foot forward on this campus. As soon as I got here, I said, we're going to win now. Right now was the expectations. That was the standards. I feel like I had to get guys in here to get on my page as far as how I wanted things done. And from there, you know, you get guys to buy in, you get guys to try to buke the system. But overall, you look for a culture. And in that culture, you look for hungry young men. You look for men that's willing to be challenged. And when I got here at Delaware State, man, you could tell that the want to will for them to win. You could tell, man, them guys were looking for this. And, you know, they just wanted to be held to a higher standard. And you know, in our daily works, you know, I'm foot on the gas, I'm foot to the pedal. I have a saying, all gas, no brakes. And that's how we do everything here, man. Throughout practices, the games, our rehab, you know, when we go to school, man, everything we have to do is the standard, right? And in my eyes, we have a stretch here. You know, we knew we was going on the road for 3 games in a row, which was St. Francis, Sacred Heart, and then Monmouth. Then we're going to be some tough games, and we knew that. And at the end of the day, you know, after those 3, we come back home for our homecoming, and then we get into conference play. But one thing I will say, this team is nowhere near our peak, and we're going to keep getting better week in and week out, and we show it. And you know, it's still a lot of things that needs to be cleaned up, and we'll clean it up because we'll detail our work throughout the week. And if we take care of the small things, the big things will take care of themselves.
Hey man, thank you. Congratulations. I look forward to seeing you next weekend. I will say that if you take that same attitude that you did on the professional level to this college level, you're gonna be great, man. That's all I can say.
Thank you, brother. Yes, sir, Darren. Appreciate it, man. Hey,
No
that's what
problem.
we doing, man. We putting the work before the success, brother.
That's it. Thank you.
Sir.
Thanks for the question, Daryl. Now on to Andy Walter.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hey, Andy, I'm good. Yourself, man.
All right. Hey, listen, you know, obviously this roster's been put together with players from all over the country, and you know, a lot of these guys really haven't been in Dover for too long. You know, how have you built chemistry and kind of gotten everybody on the same page?
Man, that's a great question. You know, always bringing guys in from different backgrounds, different ethnicities. You know, it's always a challenge. You know, you have guys that you know are not familiar with certain you know upbringings. You know, you got West Coast guys, you got Mid East, you got you know East Coast, you got down South. I mean, you got a little bit of everything, right? And you know, my challenge with my team, man, I did something different when we first got into this thing, man. I challenge my players to this for this team to be player led. You know, as much as I'm hard on them, as much as our coaching staff is hard on these guys, we challenge our players, man. At the end of the day, the best teams and the championship teams are player led. And I think that just shows, you know, week in and week out, our players, man, holding themselves to the standard. You know, if you see one of the players slacking or not holding up to their potential, you got guys getting on them, man. Even before I get on them, sometimes my players are getting on them, right? So, you know, you just allow your team to have time to build camaraderie. You have them, you know, go through uncomfortable situations throughout camp, throughout the week, and you know, you just kind of you want to see what your players do when they're not comfortable, right? Because anybody could do well when you're comfortable, right? When things are going your way. But what makes a championship culture and a championship team is what are you going to do when you're uncomfortable, right? And uncomfortability is, you know, where we're at right now, man. Because I stress these guys, man. I work them hard, you know, and I guarantee you ask some of the players, hey man, how is Coach Jack? They would have been like, I didn't expect him to be this way, man. And I've learned from some of them guys that I've been around that I respected, you know, because as a player, sometimes you're not going to want to work hard. Sometimes you're not going to want to go to the extra meeting. But, you know, if we do it now, at the end of the season, man, when we, you know, God, you know, puts in that position, when we hold up that championship, you know, everybody would be like, man, Coach Jack did this for a reason.
Thanks.
Sir.
Thank you for that question. And now a final question comes from Kevin Tressolini.
Thank you very much. Hi, DeSean. How you doing?
Hey, Kevin, I'm good. Yourself?
Good, good. Hey, Coach. How have you and Coach Washington kind of found common ground on offensive philosophy and play calling, things like that? And what's Coach Portis's impact been with your fine running game?
Man, it's a great question right there. You're pretty smart for asking that one, man. You know, I didn't really. I don't like to give up, all my secrets, man. And I feel like I got some secrets over here in our office, man. But I'm always giving credit where credit's due, right? Coach Nemo Washington, man. His success, man. Him being on the Cleveland Browns the past 2 years, working, in that offensive room, man, is gave him some great insights, man. He's a very smart, intelligent, young offensive coordinator, and we challenge each other, man. Because one thing about Coach Nemo, he's like, Coach, don't slow me down today. And I'm like, man, sometimes, I got to slow you down because, we got a fast-paced offense in the midst of the game. Sometimes I'm like, Coach, we got to slow it down. He's like, hey, Coach, don't let me take the foot off the gas, right? But it's just his hindsight, man, and how he wants to win, man, and how he challenges our players, man. It's like, you would think he's happy after the game we just won, right? He's pissed off. He's yelling at the players like, man, we got 299, man. I'm mad we didn't get over 300. This 1 yard, Coach. Come on, man. Give him some grief. But and then too with Clinton Portis, man. Clinton Portis, man, his mindset. I mean, he was a all-pro rookie of the year running back. I mean, he's able to teach our running back so many great things, and it just shows to our brotherhood, man. I think our coaching staff, we really have a great brotherhood, man. Offense and defense, we challenge each other. We go out there, we compete. And at the end of the day, one thing I would say as a coach, what you put out there is a resemblance to you. And right now, I think, we're putting out a lot of great ball and a lot of resemblance of how we played, man. And at the end of the day, we're just going to keep challenging our guys. We're going to keep putting that pressure on them because we feel like pressure, it only creates diamonds, right? Pressure don't bust pipes around here, man. We creating diamonds.
Appreciate your time and insight, Coach. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys, man. Appreciate
Thank you for that question, Kevin, and thanks to all of you for the great questions of Coach Jackson. Coach, that's about it for all of our questions. Thanks for joining us this morning. Best of luck this weekend as you travel to Sacred Heart. As a reminder, it's going to be a kickoff at noon on ESPN Plus, Delaware State at Sacred Heart at Campus Field in Fairfield, Connecticut. Let's turn our attention now to Norfolk, Virginia for a conversation with head coach Michael Vick of the Spartans. Good morning to you, Coach Vick.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing fine, Coach. What a good football game, exciting football game. The Spartans at the end executed a great 2-minute drill almost to perfection, but the comeback bids fell just short in a close 31-28 loss to Sacred Heart. Let's talk about this great football game.
Yeah, we definitely went out and played one of our best brands of football. We didn't pull it all together, but most important, that's what it's all about. It's all about winning at the end of the day. We had our opportunities at the end, and when you get those chances, you can't not capitalize. So you got to come out, you got to start fast. We got to be better in that department, and so we want to make that the primary focus this week, starting faster. And, going out and just making the plays that we know we can make.
So as you prepare to travel to Wagner this week, the key areas you focus on to ensure that Norfolk State executes at a high level will be what?
For us is, continue to do what we've been doing on the offensive side of the ball, making plays when needed, keeping our same strategy and philosophy. Also enhancing it. But to tighten up on the defensive side of the ball as well, I think we gave up over 300 yards of total offense, maybe a little bit more. So we got to tighten up on the defensive side, and this is the time to start, kind of fine-tuning things, and we figuring out what we do well, what we don't do well, and how we got to come out and try to defend. And so that's the exciting part about playing football is that each week you get to make self-corrections and keep moving forward.
Well, I appreciate it, Coach Vick. We're going to open it up for questions from the media. And media, as a reminder, use the raise hand feature and remain muted until we're called upon. And then please limit your questions to just one for Coach Vick. Our first question comes from Wayne Cartwright. Wayne.
Hey, Coach Vick. I I know that you guys offensively, you guys are executing the way you probably wanted to, having 550 yards of total offense. But I thought the turning point of the game, what made the difference, was those 3 turnovers, and 2 of them contributed to 2 touchdowns for them. What do you guys, would you consider you guys to be close in your execution to just getting to where you want it as a team after Saturday's game?
I would say we're close in terms of execution, but you're never as close as you think when you start turning the ball over. And there's no excuse for it. You know, you turn the ball over and you don't win the turnover battle. If it's not close, you probably are going to be in a close game or not going to win the game. And so for our guys, they learned a tough lesson this weekend. Everything matters. You got to protect the football. And look, we gotta bury teams when we have a chance to. We got to make sure that we do the things we supposed to do in the moment. We got to take on the lead and keep building on the lead and not let teams feel like they can play with us. And so when we do that, that's the type of game that it turns into. So those guys have to learn from this past weekend, and we got to continue to preach winning the turnover battle.
All right, Coach. Thanks for the comments, and good luck on Staten Island this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Now on to James Hill. James.
Coach Vick, how you doing, sir?
Doing great. How you doing?
Pretty good. Coach Vick, the evolution of the black quarterback this season in the NFL, opening day, 16 quarterbacks started. They're black men. But when you look at the history of the game and HBCU quarterbacks, Mr. Doug and Shaq and all the guys, when you think about the opportunity, I know it's a small sample size so far for you as a coach, but what do you see when you think about the talent level and the opportunities? Because guys want to make it like you did.
Yeah, I think regardless of where you at now, you can get a look to play in the NFL. I don't think the league, discriminates in terms of what quarterbacks look like. Not to say that that wasn't a thing at times, but if there was, the barrier is truly been broken for quite some time now, and so regardless of where you're at, where you come from, HBCU, Big Ten Conference, ACC, you can play in the National Football League now, and that's a beautiful thing to see. So quarterbacks on our level should be inspired. Quarterbacks on every level should be inspired regardless of how you look.
Thank you, Coach. Have a blessed week and good luck this Saturday.
All right, thank you.
Ray Rogers, Urban Sports Scene, you're up.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. You and your post game kind of raised some eyebrows with something that you said about film study. And think about yourself as a younger player, your collegiate days, your early days in the NFL. How do you get these guys to buy into film study? It's not always fun, but it's so important for preparation. And how are you emphasizing that as being a big part of game prep for each week?
Yeah, I think the thing is, regardless of what level you on, you don't have to feel like because you play in a certain conference or you play on a certain level that you don't have to do the things that people on the top-notch levels do. You know what I'm saying? Because if essentially that's where they all trying to go. And in today's game, there's so many opportunities to go play, for anywhere. And, it's opportunities for them. And so why not better your game? And so what we try to do and what we do is, tell them the things that's going to make you a successful player, that's going to make it easy for you when you step on the field. And film study is the key. The film don't lie. What's on tape is on tape. And, we teach off that and, try to be innovative at the same time. So it's a great opportunity these days. I just don't want, our guys or, any player to feel like because, you at a HBCU don't mean you don't have to watch film or break tape down. Let's do the things that the pros do. And that's what we stress, practice like a pro. And it shows up. I just want to continue to enforce that and continue to enhance that.
All right, thanks, Coach. It should be mandatory. That's the key.
No doubt. Mandatory. Oh, yeah, it's definitely mandatory.
Thank you so much, Ray Rogers. On to you now, Daryl Duvall.
Hey, Coach. I just want to say, this is Daryl Duvall with Powering You Sports. You're doing a good job, man, with the team. But Where do you see the most growth in executing compared to the earlier weeks games?
Yeah, I see our growth right now is just in our confidence. I think we got the confidence that we can go out and win football games. But obviously, it's going to be turning points in games where, you got to show perseverance. It's going to be times in games where you got to be resilient. And it's going to be times in games where you got to trust, you got to trust what you've seen, trust what you know, and trust your instincts. And so I feel like, last week we put ourselves in a position where we had to come back and win. And so we had chances to win. So I feel like our team has gotten better in understanding how to win games. And we put ourselves in a position to win a game. And so, we do that every week. I think we'll be okay. Just break this thing down to a 1-game season every week.
All right. Well, good luck this weekend. I think y'all did a real good job on the yards and the passing yards. So, I think you got something going.
Yeah, got to fix the defense. Got to get better in every area. But I think our defense, they feel the same way, and they'll get the stops. They'll do what they need to do.
Thank you so
Good
much,
luck this
Daryl.
weekend.
Thanks, Daryl. On to you, Chris Stevens.
Good morning, Coach Vick. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Obviously, being a Pro Bowl quarterback and a head coach now, you understand, you understood for a long time that this is a results-oriented game. You come out on the short end of the stick on this one, but just how pleased are you with the fight of this team? As you mentioned, you lost the turnover battle, you put yourself behind the 8 ball a little bit, but this team had a chance right at the end to at least force overtime. Just when you look through the course of a season, do you see this as like a turning point for this team, and would you characterize the growth of this team, through the first 4 games?
Yeah, I feel like our team grew up a lot right after this game. Just the way they felt, knowing that they let one slip away, and just in talking to them afterwards, I just try to let them know, like, this has to hurt. If you love football, if you love the game, and when you leave it all out in the field and knowing you might have left a couple plays, even though you left it all out there, it's gonna hurt, and it's not gonna feel better until you make it right. It's not gonna feel better until you go and get a win, and you don't want this feeling to be continuous. So you got to do everything in your power in the moment, being in the moment, to make sure that we execute at a high level. And so it's important that they feel that way. And it'll make our jobs as coaches a lot easier. So just gonna take it 1 game at a time, man, and just try to enjoy each and every week from the start of the week to the end of the week. And so just keep competing hard, man. That's what's most important.
All right, Coach. Thanks for your time as always. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. And our final question of the morning for you, Coach Vick, comes from Mark Ernie from NEC Front Row. Mark.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for the time today.
doing?
Appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll talk a little bit more later in the week. But I'm just curious to know, 4 games in, what's been the most maybe challenging part of being the head coach at Norfolk State? And on the flip side, what's been the highlight so far?
The most challenging part, and the part I enjoy the most is just on game day, controlling my emotions as a former player, now being a coach, and kind of knowing the things that need to happen and has to happen, and when it doesn't, just trying to keep my cool and just trying not to be super emotional. I think, playing quarterback, I just kind of see too much and just be looking at too much. So I got to stay in my lane, stay in my room as a coach, understand what's happening within the game, make sure that we limit our penalties in terms of, things that could happen from illegal substitutions to, just, the little nuances about the game. So clock management, those are things that kind of worry me the most, but I pay attention to. The highlights has been just knowing we can do it. Knowing that we can play with any team, knowing that we can go out there, we can compete hard, and at the same time still challenging the guys and coaching them every day has been the highlight. So I take pride in that. We have fun, and we just try to go out and make each and every day a competitive day so we can get better. So I'm enjoying the part of trying to make these young men better each and every day.
Thank you, sir. I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, We're going to slide one more question in for you, Coach, from Dr. Kenyatta Cavill inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Doc?
All right. Thank you. This is Kenyatta Cavill. Dr. Vill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach Vick.
Yeah,
I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you for asking. I wanted to ask you holistic about this first third of the season, if you would. How are you going to take what you've learned, what is doing, your team is doing well, obviously change those things that are not to push you forward to this next third, ultimately into the last third, which is a conference play?
Yeah, we got to go back and look at the things that we've done well, try to improve on that. The things that we haven't done well, try to make sure we make super improvements on that, and also be able to make in-game adjustments. And so, you know, in the losses, you tend to pick out the things that you're not doing as well and things that you can do better. And so, you know, it's good it's happening early in the season. Not to say that it's a good thing, but you know, we just getting out the way, you know, and learning, you know, what the tough losses feel like, what the heartbreak feel like, and let the emotions flow, but also let the emotions make us better. And so turn these negatives into a positive, and just try to get ready for a strong, you know, strong finish. You know, when the you know, when we got to be at our best. And so, you know, we'll continue to study, continue to get better, and continue to compete, and just be ready when conference play comes around.
Thank you, Coach Vick. Fortunately, I have the opportunity to be up there that Friday of the Hampton game on campus to talk with some of your students. So I look forward to being able to ask some post and pregame questions. Good luck with the season and as well as this upcoming game.
Yes, sir. You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes all of our media questions for you this morning, Coach Vick. I'd like to wish you the best of luck as you head to Wagner. It's going to be the Norfolk State Spartans and the Wagner Seahawks Saturday, September 27th at Wagner College Stadium in Staten Island, New York. It's going to a 12 p.m. a noon kickoff on ESPN+. Now, let's head to Orangeburg, South Carolina. Head coach Chennis Berry, the top dog of the South Carolina State Bulldogs. Good morning to you, Coach Berry.
Good morning to you, sir. You doing all right today?
I'm doing good, Coach. I'm doing good. You mentioned last week it was going to be a tough trip down to Tampa. The Bulldogs traveled down to Tampa. You actually played the South Florida Bulls very tough, 21-7 at the half, but then the Bulls pulled away late in the second half. Let's talk about it.
Well, like you say, man, we knew we had a tall task, man. Whenever you have an opportunity to play against a team like that, man, you figure in our first 4 weeks, man, we played two of the top teams in America, man. So we know that's a challenge, but they put them on the schedule, and guess what we're going to do? We're going to go and compete to the best of our ability. And I thought our guys did that, man. We had the right mindset. We as coaching staff, we try to come up with plans, all right, versus the opponent we're getting ready to play. And I thought we had outstanding plans. But at the end of the day, you got to go execute the plan. You know, in this program, we talk about paying the fee. That's amazing focus, amazing effort. You got to win the effort battle, and then you got to go execute. And then you got to win your one-on-one, man. And we got to the point where I thought we had a fast start. They won the coin toss, they deferred, and they kicked it off to us, man. And we took the ball, the initial drive, 70 yards. I mean, literally, we started on the minus 25. We got it down to the 5, and on second down, we had a sprint out play called, and unfortunately, we threw a pick 6, man, and that got them kind of going. So, you know, we wanted a fast start. We were moving the ball, but we took it all the way down to the green zone. We couldn't put it in the box. And, you know, we had our challenges. Like I say, in the first half, we competed well, super excited about our young men, but we didn't win what I call the middle 8. In the second half, they got a couple quick scores. We had some 3 and outs, and that started the steamroll, and we ended up losing 63-14.
Coach, you got to travel again this week, but much closer to Charleston Southern. What challenges will the Buccaneers present to the Bulldogs, and what will be the keys to your success this weekend in this matchup?
Tell you what, Coach Gardena, I know him very well. First of all, he was the head coach at Albany State when I was the head coach at Benedict. So we went against each other several times. He's going to have his team ready to go. I tell you what, they're a really good football team. They've had a challenging schedule at the beginning as well. They had to play Vanderbilt, which they lost to. They played Coastal Carolina, which they lost to. But again, a good football team. We know it's an in-state rival. Anytime you have an opportunity to play another FCS program in a different conference that's in-state, it's always big. It's big for recruiting because, a lot of times we recruit a lot of the same guys. So we'll have our team ready to go. We already started off yesterday. Outstanding practice yesterday. Guys are very encouraged. It's kind of hard when you get beat as bad as we got beat, man, and the guys still be encouraged, but they know. Bulldogs, we got a good football team, but we're going to get an opportunity to put it back on stage this upcoming week against a really good, I think, Charleston Southern football program.
Okay, Coach, thanks so much. That's just a warm-up now because here comes some more questions from the media. And as a reminder to the media reps, please use your raise hand feature. Remain muted until you're introduced and then limit your questions to one each for Coach Berry. Our first question comes from James Hill, James Hill Sports.
Coach Berry, good to see you and all of the gentlemen in the South Carolina State University Nation this past weekend in Tampa. Talk about the offense, the defense, and the special teams as you move forward and you play again this week.
Well, it was great seeing you as well, man. So first of all, hello, how you doing? Hope all is well for you, man. It was good seeing you this weekend. But, man, all in all, we're in a great spot, man. Ultimately, we had some bumps and bruises. Now, I didn't like the injury report that I received on Saturday after the game. The injury report was not to my liking. But, when you play a team like that, that's what we get. We put them on the schedule. We know what it's going to be like. And they're a physical football team. And but I think for the most part, we'll be having everybody ready to go when it's time to line up versus Charleston Southern. But we're in a good spot. Like I say, we had a good practice yesterday. We're locked in, dialed in. Offensively, defensively, and special teams. Some things, obviously, we have to fix. There's no doubt about it. We're focusing on falling in love with the process, man. It's more so everybody wants the outcome. Yeah, we all want to win, but it's our process. So I'm being the word you're going to hear me saying, the sentence you're going to hear me saying all week to my staff and to my players, we're going to be demanding of the details. It's the detail. Football comes down to details. To separate you from being good, average, great, whatever, it's about the details. And we're going to be demanding, not demeaning, I didn't say demeaning, demanding of the details. And those are things you got to clean up. Regardless of who you're playing, you still got to tackle, you still got to block, you still got to eliminate penalties, you still got to have great hat placement, footwork, technique, fundamentals, and those are the things that we're going to focus on as we prepare for Charleston Southern. But we're in a good spot, like I say, in all three phases. But it's a lot of things that we have to work on. We're going to respect all our opponents, but we got to fix us. And those start with being demanding of the details.
Good luck this week, sir. Have a blessed week.
Thank you. Take care, man.
Thanks so much, James. You're up, Chris Stevens.
Good morning, Coach Berry. How are you?
Chris, how you doing this morning, man?
Pretty good. This schedule has been a hodgepodge for your guys. As you said, you've been to Columbia, South Carolina, Tampa, Florida. You've had a couple of home games. And then, of course, you guys are back on the road, just a little bit in the Palmetto State this weekend. Just when you look at your guys and, the mentality that they have, how would you say this football team is responding to, 1 week you put up 55 against a really solid Bethune-Cookman team. Then the South Florida game gets away from you. Like, just how do you keep your guys on an even keel knowing that football is a very long season?
Well, yeah, no question. That's a good question, man. First of all, for us, we just talk about the process. We want to execute regardless of who we're playing, man. Yeah, we had some challenging games, man. I mean, you're talking about we played two of the top teams in America, but they're challenging, but it's still football, right? We still want to execute. We still got to be focused. You got to be focused on because there's 10 other guys per the play depending on you, okay? You got to give amazing effort. Effort has nothing to do with talent. So I always, regardless of who we're playing, we got to win the effort battle. I want to be able to have, when we watch the film, that say we played extremely hard. But at the end of the day, man, you got to execute, man. Regardless of who you're playing, football is football. South Florida, they did present some challenges. If anybody knows anything about South Florida, they play in that same kind of tree that the University of Tennessee plays in. It's a lot of tempo, all right? They play really, really fast. They're very, very explosive. So our job, what we try to do is eliminate possessions. So we're not a get in the huddle type of offense. Well, we got in the huddle. We had to try to change it up, okay? And we end up accomplishing that because we had the ball for 43 minutes. Guys, that's unheard of. It's 60 minutes in a game. We had the ball for 43 minutes offensively. We had some drives, 18-play drives, which that means we were getting first downs. We had 20 first downs in the game. But at the end of the day, we didn't execute in some of those moments. All right, their offense only had the ball for 16 minutes, but they have the quick, explosive scores. So when you take some of those explosive scores away, we're in a football game. So, like I say, our guys were encouraged. We went into the halftime. It's 21-7. And really, it should have been 14-14 because we threw the pick six that scored because our defense played really well in the first half against a really good South Florida football team. That's why I say, it's hard when you sit here because we gave up 35 points in the third quarter. But I'm super encouraged about this football team. I mean, it's a tall task we knew we were going into, but I have a very resilient, physical, disciplined football team that's ready to take on the next challenge as we get ready for Charleston Southern.
Thanks for your time as always, Coach. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, media, for those questions for Coach Berry. That's it for us, Coach Berry. We want to wish you nothing but the best this weekend as you travel right over to play Charleston Southern. It's going to be the South Carolina State Bulldogs and the Charleston Southern Buccaneers Saturday, September 27th at Buccaneer Field in Charleston, South Carolina. 6 o'clock kickoff on ESPN+. Now, let's go to Baltimore, Maryland, to the National Treasure. I see the head coach of the Bears, Damon Wilson. Coach, how you doing this morning?
Doing good, man. How about yourself, brother?
Man, I'm happy, and I know you are too, because your Bears pitched a shutout, 27-0 over Central State, Coach. That has to build some momentum and some confidence in your football team. What's your take on the win and the performance?
It definitely feels good to get a win. We're coming off three games where we lost, 2 we were competitive in, and 1 got out of hand. So it's good to get a win. It's tough to get a win in college. We're still not playing clean football, but at the end of the day, defensively, we were able to keep those guys out the end zone, and offensively, we be able to score some points, and even got a touchdown on special teams. So we have a lot of work to do, but I'm really excited to get that first win for the season.
I'm sure the media reps are going to dive into last Saturday's game, but let's look ahead now. You face Miles College in the Circle City Classic this weekend. This is the first time I think the Bears have gone to Indianapolis with a big win under your belt. What are the biggest challenges that you're going to expect from Miles, and what will be your keys to success to perform in this showcase game?
I mean, Miles is a team, they're a championship caliber team. That's a championship program. They're looking for their first win this year. They've had a tough start to this season, so they're going to be excited. They're used to playing in these classic type games. So those guys will be ready to rock and roll. For us, we're leaving a little day earlier. We're excited to get to Indy and play in this game. So we'll make the necessary adjustments with regards to our practice times and all that good stuff. But it's football. The ball's going to be kicked off Saturday at 3 o'clock, and we're going to have an opportunity to compete against another opponent. And like I said, it's a championship caliber opponent. So this is a very feisty team looking for their first win of the season. So we must be hitting on all cylinders.
Okay, Coach, thanks so much for those questions. Hold on, you got more coming from the media. Hey, media, reminder, just use the raise hand feature. Remain muted until you're introduced, and 1 question each for Coach Wilson. Having said that, Chris Stevens, you're on.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm good, Chris. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Being able to get a win under your belt, shutting out an opponent, and I believe this was you guys' Hall of Fame weekend as well.
Yes, it was. We had in class going on Friday. Yes.
Yeah, when you're able to give the home crowd and the alumni something to be excited about as you're building this program up, and then you go to Indy this weekend. Just what are you looking forward to the most about the rest of the season now that you guys have gotten that monkey off your back as far as the wins go?
Just continue to get better. We're still not performing offensively and or special teams like I would like to. And we have, we played a lot of guys, which has been great. It's going to that Toledo game. I think we played about 77 guys. We played about 80 guys this past weekend. So hopefully all of those reps will help when you come down to the towards conference play. But we want to be consistent, man, and play better up front and make the plays that's out there to be made.
All right, Coach. Thanks for your time as always. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. James Hill, you're on.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everyone in Baltimore are well. How are you, sir?
Doing well, James. How about yourself?
I'm blessed. Talk a little bit about the opportunity to showcase, if you will. This is the platform, Lucas Oil Stadium, Circle City, all eyes on Indianapolis. And then you look over at Miles, and they're a dangerous team, but this is a great opportunity.
Oh, it's a great opportunity. Anytime the guys have the ability to play in an NFL stadium. You know, kind of this is where it goes down. You know, the combine is held in Indy. You know, like I said, you're playing against a championship caliber program in miles. I mean, it's great. So if you're a guy that's looking to play at the next level and to play in these type of venues and arenas, you have an opportunity to do it here, you know, at Morgan State. So it helps us in recruiting from a conference standpoint. So it helps as well competing against another non-conference opponent in this type of venue. So, you know, we're excited about it, man. And we're going to continue to focus on getting better here at Morgan. And, you know, we'll deal with the competition on Saturday once we get there.
Good luck. Have a great week, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, James.
Thank you, James. Ray Rogers, Urban Sports Scene.
Hey, what's up, Coach Wilson? Always good to talk to you, my friend.
Yes, sir, Ray. How about yourself? How you doing, Ray?
I'm good, and congrats on the win this weekend. Like you said, I know it felt good. Just want to ask, though, about fourth down efficiency is something that I know you want to improve upon, because that might have made a difference in, like, let's say the Towson game, and you worked on that this weekend. How do you grow when it comes to executing on those third and fourth downs as the season progresses?
We were doing pretty well on third down efficiency. And this past Saturday, I went forward a couple of times on fourth down where we were in that in-between zone where we was on that, could we kick a field goal? Could we not kick a field goal? So, you know, we had some 4th and 7s or 4th and 8s. And like I said, we did not execute well in those situations this week. We'll get back on the field tomorrow. We'll practice those situations. But you got to have better first and second downs, you know, to eliminate those long downs late in the possession. But all in all, you know, that's something that we have to continue to get better at and make sure everybody does their job to execute when we're in those situations.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray. Now on to Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. Dwayne Nash from the Yard, HBCU Sports and Hero Sports. How are you this morning?
Doing well, Dwayne. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, Coach. After this big Commanders win this past weekend. You know, I got to throw that in there a little bit.
There you go. That's right. You're right.
I would be remiss to ask, I believe this is the first time that you've taken taken this program to an NFL stadium. Am I correct?
Wow, you said that, and yeah, as a head coach, this is the first time that I've been coaching the NFL state. That's right. As a head coach, I've been there several times as an assistant coach. Down when I was at Texas Southern and Prairie View, but yeah, and yeah, you're right. Good job, Dwayne.
You know what? That was a little bit deeper than what I thought. I didn't even think I was going back that far. I just thought that it was just at Morgan. I didn't realize it went back to Bowie as well. Wow. Sometimes you press yourself. Talk about that. Talk about that a little bit, and also talk about the pressures. Well, not necessarily the pressures, but what it's like facing a team that's into week 5, that's still in search of a win, and how hungry they're going to be coming in, probably looking to get their first win off you.
Man, Dwayne, I was at a Division II school for 13 years, and we used to lick our chops every time we had an opportunity to kind of play up. So I understand those guys' mindset. I understand the type of cloth those guys are cut from. Like I said, it's a championship caliber program. It hadn't started off the way they wanted to, but it's there. I watched those guys play against Alabama State. Those guys have skills. They're going to get after it. You know, we have to be prepared. But the biggest thing for us, and me and my team, is just to play Morgan State football. You know, we're not going to look past any opponent, but right now we're not playing like I want to play across the board up front with regards to our execution. So there's some things that we have to do to continue to get better, and I'm going to push our guys this weekend. They'll be prepared for Saturday.
Thanks so much, Coach. Good luck this week in Indianapolis.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Dwayne.
All right.
Okay, now on to Daryl Duvall.
Hey, Coach, this is Daryl Duvall with Power U Sports. I want to first say congratulations on that win this past weekend.
Sir, thank you.
So the main question I have is, what defensive adjustments stood out that helped control the game?
We stopped the run. I think we held them to 15 yards rushing. We had a number of sacks up front, but we stopped the run. But I still don't like where we are with regards to our underneath coverage and takeaways. You know, we were able to get 2 takeaways this weekend. I think this is our first interception of the season. We had 2, which is good, and that's something that we pride ourselves on, is stopping and running, taking the ball away from our opponents. So, you know, we want to continue to build in those areas, and but it was good to see us do that this past weekend.
Well, good luck this weekend in Indianapolis.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
On now to Dr. Kenyatta Cavill. Doc.
Thank you. Kenyatta Cavill, Dr. Ville's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach Wilson, how are you doing this morning?
Doing good, Doc. How about yourself?
Going well, going well. First, let me acknowledge Dwayne Nash in terms of his question. Brilliant there. Anytime you can impress Coach Wilson, you're doing something. So,
but the biggest thing, he impressed himself. You heard him say that, right?
I wasn't gonna say that part. I thought he didn't look too much there, but you know, I want to bring people up, not down. So, but yeah, that was good. I want to ask you. I've been kind of going through this framework in terms of breaking down the season in parts, and so the first third essentially is done, and you move in for the MEAC. The second third, final third, obviously, is conference play. Can you holistically look at what you have with your team? What do you believe were some good, where you want to see emphasis and improvement in terms of that first third of the season thus far?
Like I said, the first third, we had 2 of the 3 were FBS opponents, and one of those FBS opponents we played pretty well against South Alabama, a team that went on and played Auburn, I think, a week after or so, and lost by a score or 2. And we played pretty well. You know, we were able to run the ball. You know, we were pretty efficient on third down, and you know, we got in the end zone a couple of times. Then you come back and lose a ball game to a good FCS opponents in Towson, where we out yardaged them. We did everything we were supposed to do except the scoreboard, and we had turnovers. So we've been able to minimize the turnovers. You know, we had one this past week, underthrown ball. Outside of that, I think we've gotten better there. As far as penalties, we're down, averaging around 4 or 5 penalties a game now. So I think that first third, if you will, I could say we're getting better with regards to minimizing turnovers and the penalty deal. Not just about execution. You know, that's really what the biggest thing is, execution and doing your job up front right now.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the matchup in terms of Lucas Oil Stadium. And again, congratulations for your first opportunity.
Appreciate you, Doc.
All
yes,
right,
sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc. And thank you, Coach Wilson, for joining us, answering those questions. Best of luck this weekend as the Morgan State Bears travel to Indy to the Circle City Classic to play Miles College. It's going to be a September 27th kickoff at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. That does it for us this week. In closing, the 4th weekly MEAC Football Coaches Video Conference presented by our great partners, Wells Fargo. And before the end of the conference, we'd like to thank all who assisted us today and participated in today's video conference. The MEAC would also like to thank its corporate partners for their continued support of the conference and its Elite 8 member institutions. As a reminder, the next video conference is next Monday, September 29th at 10 a.m. And for more information on MEAC football and other sponsored sports, visit MEACsports.com. Follow the MEAC on social media at MEAC Sports on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in to the MEAC Football Coaches Video Conference, and have a great football week. Take care.